Hey guys, Rob from the Off Grid Tiny House. It's been a while. You guys seen me do an unboxing video of this PV combiner box that I recently purchased. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's on my channel. Under the solar playlist, just look for the newest video. Next to this one, obviously, as well. So I just want to go over it in this video in particular because the unboxing video was more of a just an unboxing. I didn't really talk about it. I just showed everything that came in the box. This is more of an in-depth talk about video. So we're going to open it up. I already undid the clasps and everything. We're going to zoom in, show you what's going on in here. So a combiner box, guys, is basically a great thing to have. I didn't have a combiner box at the Off Grid Tiny House. I went directly from the solar panels to the charge controller, then to the batteries, and then to the loads. So with this, it's really good because, for one thing, it protects your solar panels. It protects basically your power setup. And how does it do that? Well, first of all, I'm going to tilt it up. Right on the bottom, we have a ground set up right there. So you can run a heavy gauge wire through here and attach it to a grounding rod that you would then have to hammer into the ground. 6 feet, I believe, 6 feet or more is best. Obviously, tie that tightly directly to it. Good to go. Now this box, guys, is obviously to be mounted on the side of a building, whatever that may be for you guys or me. And other protection measures. We have a circuit breaker here. But even before the circuit breaker, check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 pins on here. They call these pins. Okay? And each one of these pins, individual, so when I open this, inside is, if I can open it up a little more there, inside is a 15 amp inline fuse, 15 amp, 1000 volts, DC, certified, and definitely for solar as well. Sorry about that, guys. Did that off camera a little bit. So 15 amp, looks like a big inline fuse. That's basically what it is. It just drops inside there and it goes down. You press that down, puts it back in the circuit. Now each one of these 4, each of these obviously will do up to 15 amps. Each of these will do 15 amps at 250 volts DC, so solar current, direct current, right? So each one of these will handle 15 amps at up to 250 volts DC. Pretty good. Now the other one that I saw on Amazon was a little cheaper, and it only gave you a 10 amp inline fuse in these pins. They're called pins for whatever reason. I'm just going with what they say. So they would have a 10 amp fuse as opposed to this 15 that's in this particular setup. Sorry, my camera doesn't focus very well there. But it was a little cheaper, and the reason I went with the 15 amp breaker, or the fuse basically, is because the solar panels that I have fell in love with are the LG bifacial panels, which I had at the Off Grid Tiny House. I only had 2 of them wired in series, and it was more than enough to power the tiny house completely. It was awesome. So whether I go 12 volt, 24 volt, or 48 volt, you can do any of those options with one of these combiner boxes, which is awesome. Obviously, you guys know in my, if you've been following my channel, I've been on the fence whether to go with 24 volt, 48 volt, or stick to the old 12 volt. I'm leaning more to 24 to 48, as you guys have probably seen in my videos. And, you know, it is what it is. We'll get there. We'll figure it out. So anyways, back to the controller box here. The circuit breaker here is rated at, let me get it in frame here a little bit for you, 500 volts direct current, 6 kA, 6 kilowatt, as far as I can tell. Okay. And green, red. Okay. I'm assuming green means good, or that means it's been tripped. One or the other. Is there actually an on the toggle? Sometimes they have an on-off right here. I got poor lighting, guys. Let me put it up to my face real quick. Nope. Nope. So normally they have an on-off. If sometimes you look on the actual toggle itself, it doesn't have that, but whatever. So we have a circuit breaker, the fuses protecting our solar panels, our system, and it also has the surge lightning suppressor. So this is a surge, whoops, get you in frame again, surge protection device. Okay, it has a surge for the positive side and the negative side of all your DC components. Now the surge is up to, it says PV40 1000 volt DC, 20 kA, and how many joules is that? 820 joules. I think that's, or 8 by 20 joules. Is there a slash in there? My eyes are going, guys, I'm getting old here. What's going on? So, oh, max, it says 40 kilowatt, 820 joules. I think that's what I believe I'm seeing there. And then it says 4 kV up. You guys can read it. It's on camera. Anyways, that's a surge protector for lightning strikes. So this combiner box is great. So let's say you're out on your property. You got heavy storms. That's going to handle that. And we'll go from there. Alrighty, guys. So getting back to the controller box here, combiner box. We're talking protection, why you'd want one, and the benefits. So we have surge protection, whether it be lightning or a malfunction of your equipment. We have a circuit breaker, same difference. If there's a problem with your equipment, it will trip, right? We also have protection for each solar panel per these 4 pins here at 15 amps each. Obviously, I did some research before buying this particular guy because I had to look up the LG bifacial solar panels spec list, specification list, and it told me, you know, at best they would pump out a minimum 10 amps. So if I would have bought the cheaper controller box with the 10 amp fuses, we wouldn't have got very far, would we? It would have kept popping the breaker, the inline fuse, and we would have no power. So that's why I went up by 5 per pin. That way we have 15 per pin. Now the pin kind of makes sense because look, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do that again on frame. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a DC positive input on the bottom row, DC negative input on the bottom row. So however you string your solar panels together, guys, series, parallel, whatever, you're going to be plugging in to these pins. So each pin will be able to, whatever string of solar panels you have, will be protected up to 15 amps. And you have a maximum voltage up to 250 volts per pin here. Okay, so 15 amps per pin at 250 volts DC maximum. Okay, and then the rest is kind of self-explanatory, where you have, you know, you have your circuit breaker protection and then your surge protection. So this is a nice clean box. They're not that expensive. I can't wait to actually have this guy installed, up and running on a new project. And I'm doing the baby steps first, guys. So this is a nice, easy, affordable step to do first. You grab a combiner box. Now, what is really a combiner box do? So let's say you have a bunch of solar panels, 12 volt, 24 volt, or 48. You're going to hook them up to this bad boy. It's going to be fused, protected, and surged. And then the inputs, these two here on the ends, that's the ground. These two here go inside your building, 2 wires, positive and a negative, and those get fed to your charge controller, whatever that may be. Now I'm looking to buy a all-in-one MPPT charge controller, which also has an inverter built in, and it mounts on the wall. That is the route I'm looking for. One, because all-in-one and space saving. 2, it has benefits of you're able to charge up your system via the grid or a generator in case you need that. Not that I'm going to build the system around depending on that whatsoever, but it's a nice to have feature. Now, I'm still going back and forth on the 24 volt or 48 volt, so hang in there with me, guys, on that. So anyways, so you're going to have your panels coming in through these pins, okay? They're going to pass through a circuit breaker and a surge. And what's going to happen is those 2 lines coming into your building go to the charge controller. So basically, whatever way you set up your solar panels, this is going to either combine everything and send it, well, basically that's what it's doing. It's combining all the inputs you have and sending them into your house via only 2 wires. Because let's say you had like a ton of, let's say you went all 12 volt. So you'd have 1 12 volt here, 1 12 volt here, 1 12 volt here, 1 12 volt here. You would have 2, 4, 6, 8 wires coming into your building if you didn't have a box like this. That's quite a bit of wire coming through the tiny house. Whereas, so the controller actually just combines everything, protects everything, and then you're only bringing in 2 little wires to feed your charge controller in the house, to your battery bank, whatever setup you're going to have. So it's well worth it. A little over $100 on Amazon. Here's the name that I bought myself. This is the 15 amp model. There's cheaper ones at 10 amps even for beginners, but I went for the 15 amp because I spec'd out my solar panels. I know the kind I'm getting. If you guys know what kind of solar panels you like, go to the spec sheet, make sure you have the pin inline fuses at the right proper spec level. I went up for these to 15 amps, like I said earlier, instead of the 10 amp cheapie, because it just wouldn't work with the solar panels that I'm going to be getting. So just a little more on this. stay tuned for more, guys. I'm in saving mode still. I plan to get back off the grid eventually. I need property, I need components, and the way the government is running everybody into the ground, doing a great job doing that. You guys are feeling it out there in your wallets, I'm sure, like everybody else. So I'm trying to get out of these bills, out of the system, because they're doing a horrendous job running the show. You guys feel it, I feel it, and it's horrendous. So become ungovernable. Make your own little off-grid setup, even if you start slow, even if it's for charging, you know, charging emergency lights, battery packs, whatever. Build your way up to it. Solar is pretty easy, especially if you start with a beginner system and work your way up. But I've been in the game a little bit. I've had great help online from friends in the solar setup. A good buddy, Stu, High Tech Guy 18, helped me build my first one and walked me through a bunch of things I should look for. So yeah, big shout out to him. And this is the one baby step I've done so far. I still need to get panels. I still need to get an all-in-one inverter, and I will be buying the batteries last. And the all-in-one inverter, I have to know what I'm going to be doing. 12 volt, 48, 24 volt. I got to learn all that first, what I want to do. Originally, I just ran 12 volt at the off-grid tiny house, which was fantastic. I even ran my air conditioning off of it, just a window air conditioner. Obviously had 4 lithium batteries. Couldn't run it at night, only during the day, because you needed the juice to do that. But we're gonna get there, guys, so stay tuned. More exciting stuff to come. And I'm gonna be throwing up all kinds of random content, because it's my channel, my choice. If you guys don't like some of the stuff, well, stick around anyways. You might find something out that I pop out eventually, like a little surprise solar thing here and there. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Rob out.